Hello Internet, I'm me, and this is Tokamei Sentai Go Busters and Kamen Rider Wizard episode reviews. Pretty much, I'm going to start with Tokamei Sentai Go Busters first because this episode is actually very interesting to me, and I really actually like it because it's got wrestling. It's giant robot wrestling. Who doesn't love that? Who wouldn't like watching giant robots wrestle? Or even just fight. I mean, that's probably why Super Sentai has gone on for so long. But I mean, giant robot wrestling. That's all I need to say. I mean, you're probably like, I don't even care about how that happened. I want to see the giant robot wrestling. And needless to say, the giant robot wrestling is probably the best part of this episode in action-wise. Action-wise, it is the best part of this episode. But let me tell you how it all happened. The Go Busters are all sitting inside their base, getting ready to all do something different. Yogo is studying, pretty much to increase her intelligence, of course. Hiromu and Nick are actually getting ready to go out on patrol to watch out for any Megazords. And of course, Ryuji and the rest of the scientists are all trying to figure out what the main lion can really do, seeing if it has any more hidden secrets or hidden trump cards, as they say. But of course, Pete and Stagbuster are trying to get everybody to go with them to an awesome MMA match. But sorry, I'm not gonna do that anymore. But of course, everyone's like, yeah, too busy, too busy, too busy. I'm not doing it. And they're like, oh, come on. But he's like, nah, too busy. So until boom, Megazords are coming in. Four Megazords are coming through a wormhole, and of course, I'm coming through hyperspace. I'm sorry. Of course, the first one hits, and Hiromu is told to get into the Go Buster Ace and go and face it. He goes out to face it and fights it, and it's called the Fork from Hell. It's called the Fork from Hell. Anyway, uh, and then from the dome of the Coliseum, of a fight Coliseum, a giant energy beam comes down, grabs both of the Megazords, and pulls them in. And this is where we get into the giant robot wrestling. Okay, so the giant robot wrestling is exactly like every other wrestling match you've ever seen. There are the entrances, there's a tag team, there's even a ref. There's a who's enters the ref, uh, or the announcer really, or the co-announcer. There's no real ref. It's a death match. There's no ref. But yeah, Enter pretty much makes a deal with Hiromu saying, if you can defeat all four Megazords that are going to come in here, then I'll let you go. I'll let you go, fine. And Hiromu's like, yeah, alright. I'll play along, and then just kind of whispers to Nick, alright, find a way out of here now. But, you know, of course, he starts fighting. He takes out the Fork from Hell pretty quick. And pretty much as the other two Megazords are coming in, two at a time and 1 minute after that battle, the rest of the Go Busters are actually trying to figure a way into the dome, but find it almost impossible as any attack that they try to deal out to the dome actually bounces right the hell off. Pretty much like they even bring in the Hercules Megazord and try shooting at it from point blank range, and it doesn't work. It's like, holy shit, it's not working. So Enter is pretty much like, wow, they really, and Enter can see them trying to get in. It's like, ha ha ha, they're not getting in. And then they leave, and then it's like, ha ha, your friends have abandoned you. And just as these two other Megazords come in and fight him, and which is a pretty freaking sweet fight. It's a Muay Thai based robot with these spiked legs and have like this really cool kicking motif, and pretty much a weightlifter, which is a beta Megazord with like a dumbbells and shit like that. So you know, they come in, they get their ass. Well, one of them gets the beta gets their ass kicked, gets his ass kicked literally by his own opponent after getting tagged out. Yes, it was a tag team match. And of course, Hiromu's getting tired and hasn't been battling for this long before in a Megazord. And so he's starting to lose a little bit more and more. But then, as the fourth Megazord starts to come in, the Go Buster team has actually decided to try to hitch a ride onto the Megazord as it's pulled into the Coliseum. But it doesn't work. And Ryuji sees something right as they get hit out that actually comes into play later, because they can't find the original Megazord that is bringing all the other Megazords in, which is acting as a beacon, as we have all established previously. So, to keep them busy, keep the Go Buster busy, Enter decides to shoot out some, just some henchmen, throw them at him. And, of course, Yoko is pretty smart about it, going, we're not wasting time, we need to get in there, puts on the power customs, and starts wiping the floor with these bastards. And, of course, they try to take the Lion Blaster and shoot a hole through the dome. Doesn't work. And so Ryuji goes, I got a plan. And they all get the other Busta machines. So, Hiromu is actually getting his ass kicked now by a kicking robot, a kicking Megazord and a punching Megazord. And he's getting his butt kicked. And at the point where he's really not gonna, like in a really cool scene where the Buster Ace gets damaged, where it gets cut on the side where that cheetah head is, and it busts open Hiromu's helmet where it's like the shades are busted, and you can see like a silver cup over his face. It was pretty cool. I like that. I like the interior look of it. But Enter pretty much is saying, well, I've been doing this as a test to see how well humans can really stand up to me, and you've pretty much passed because you suck, you lost. So give it up now. If you give up now and admit defeat, I'll let you live and send you on your way. And Hiromu's like, how long have I been fighting? And Nick is like, an hour or so. He's like, nothing compared to the 13 years I've been training in hyperspace to kick your ass. Let's get back in this, and starts fighting again. At this time, Ryuji decides to combine all the Buster machines, except for Go Buster Ace, into one big ass Megazord. And yes, I would. That's my description of it. One big ass Megazord. And they attack the dome, and this time they can do damage and throw it off. Turns out that one of the Messiah seeds was the dome itself, which Ryuji figured out when he got knocked out. When they all got knocked off the dome, he looked down and saw the Messiah sign. So, now that the Messiah Dome is pretty much knocked away, Hiromu and the two other Megazords are now let loose onto the city. Hiromu is backed up by the big-ass Megazord, which I think is called the Great Go Buster King. That's the translation, but, they come in, they pretty much wipe the floor with all the Megazords. I mean, they even let the Messiah Seed take some free shots at him, and the thing doesn't even scratch the damn play. It doesn't even scratch the Great Go Buster King. And pretty much they whoop his ass completely. And ends the episode with, Beat and Stagbuster are still trying to get people to go to the MMA fight, which was moved to another ring, of course. And Hiromu's like, no more rings for me. But you're going to love this one, Hiromu. And then they show one of the MMA fighters has a chicken mask. It's obviously wrestling. But he has a chicken mask. And he's like, no. And it's like, good times for all. I really like this episode. It is very fun, very creative, it just had fun with itself. But it didn't go into self-parody. It had fun, but it still had a lot of references to the older episodes where it was like, do you think it's one of those Megazords who could lock up a whole building again? Or do you, a lot of things that happened in the past resurfaced in their minds. They didn't just forget about things that have happened before. And it's really brought up in this episode. I really like the fact that the fighting for the giant robots was choreographed beautifully. Pretty much, it's the best choreographed fighting for this episode. While of course, the henchmen and the stuff like that was just pretty much, I'm not going to say half-assed, but it was just not on par with the giant robot fighting. Which, remember, all of this is people in suits. So, I know the choreographing might have been different for the robots, but it could have been a little bit better for the for the henchmen fighting the Go Busters, because mostly some of the hits don't clearly land, but they let it slide, and I'm just like, okay. Now, on to Kamen Rider Wizard! This Kamen Rider Wizard episode starts off with Kamen Rider Wizard actually not doing anything. The Phoenix Phantom actually comes back because, he's a Phoenix. He got burned, turned to ashes, regathered himself, came back, yay, he's okay. And of course, there's this new secret agent dude from like Sector Zero, the National Security Agency Sector Zero, comes in to actually, pretty much comes in with his own magic stone, a green one, has pictures of Haruto, H and H, Haruto as Kamen Rider Wizard in his dragon form, in his fire dragon form, and pretty much has a whole team go, well, not a whole team, but him and two other dudes go over and take Wajima from the antique store to make his own magical rings out of this new magic stone that he found. And of course, they're like, hey, give him back. And while this is all happening, Haruto is actually going out and fighting off a gargoyle phantom from a kid who's come from Agita, who's visiting Tokyo for unexplained reasons. But, of course, as Haruto comes back to the antique shop, he hears about the kidnapping and goes over to the police station, where, with the kid from Agita pretty much following him, finds out that the inspector or the agent who kidnapped Wajima actually knows the kid. And of course, the kid reveals that he's actually come to Tokyo to figure out his father's death. That the agent actually was with his father the day his father died. Though it's pretty transparent what happened, the kid's pretty much just for the fact of trying to figure out his father's death, is about as dumb as a brick. Okay, his father died, and the agent, of course, freaks out that Haruto told him that he is a gate, meaning that the Phantoms had come after this kid long before, and he survived, but his dad didn't. Pretty obvious. Or it might not be it, but, that's my theory. But, of course, the agent is being a hard ass and a douche. Because, he's an agent. He needs to be like that. Or, the father's death really did affect him. Either one. And the kid is still trying to find his answers, gets attacked by the gargoyle a second time, and Kamen Rider Wizard is just like, I'm not having this shit again. And goes dragon form on him and kicks his ass. But of course gets away at the end. And of course, as I had a great shot where they're all on grates, pretty much, like raised grates. This is a great shot because it gets all three characters in there, of Haruto, the agent, and the kid from Akita. The kid finally blatantly asks the agent, did you leave my father to die that day? And it's a great scene. I loved it. The cinematography was great on that. This episode, again, I like this episode too. It's a really good, it was just really good. The characters were nice. The secrets withheld from each character, from character to character, actually gives a lot of interest and intrigue to what's going on. It's not just, ooh, we're being mysterious for mysterious reasons. There's actually something there. And I really like this episode, so I would give it a good 9 out of 10. And of course, I give the Tokyo Sentai Go Busters a 9 out of 10 because of how fun it was. These two episodes were actually very great, in my opinion. And the Kamen Rider Wizard, I'd have to give, it has some better fight choreography and style points than Tokyo Sentai Go Busters, even though it did have the giant robot wrestling. But both episodes are really good and I would say, are really good must-watches. And pretty much the Kamen Rider Wizard brings up a lot of good questions, like what are they going to do with the stone? What did happen to the boy's father? What was the agent's involvement, and why is he still alive? All these questions and more we'll be answered next week. So until next time, y'all, peace.